And the second thing that I'd like to say before I answer your question is that, you know, for public schools, or the parents that send their children to public schools, they aspire that their children will be better than themselves. They aspire that they will invest the little that they have in order to ensure that when their children come out, they'll be good citizens, they'll be able to support the family, they'll be able to support themselves, and be able to really contribute to the society. That is really their own aspiration, generally, for us. Then, you know, from the conversations that we've been having, and I think that is the aspirations of the parents that send their children to public schools and that of the government at the moment, are they really the same? And I would like to first of all say, it's not really. And that we have not got our own agenda yet. And they say that if you don't have an agenda, somebody else will give you their own agenda. For many years, we have been following other people's agenda. Education for all has gone and passed. MDG is nearly going. Girl child is the in thing. 21st century skills is what we're now talking about. But what is our own agenda in all this? What is the purpose for us in all this? And I continue to ask myself that, even if we borrowed these agendas, how do we domesticate them so that they are relevant for us? They have meaning for our society. They have meaning for our different backgrounds within Nigeria. Singapore has just said they used education because they were hungry and wanted to get out of poverty. What do we want to use education for? And I think we need a lot of discussion on that. Because if we don't have our own agenda, there's no way we'll be able to move forward. And we must not be distracted by nomadic education. North is not catching up and not. That is it. We need an agenda that is our own journey. And along the way, we will all be catching up, or we will all at least go along that continuum, that journey. So that's the thing. Now, having said that, you talked about teachers' education in Lagos State, and you used the word crisis. Lagos State teachers' education, or teachers, are not in crisis. We, in Lagos State, decided to focus on our education. We decided that we were going as a center of excellence. We wanted to be the economic hub of Africa and beyond. And we also realized that the only way we could achieve this is if we started from the beginning to educate our children. And because all of us in Lagos State have bought into that, we have been able to start shifting the psyche of people in terms of public education. In 2009, when we started focusing on our education and the education of our teachers, the baseline for the WAEC results for the children of Lagos State was 18.6% of those who sat had 5 credits, including English and maths. Yesterday, when we looked at what the minister said, it was even lower than the average of Nigeria. By 2013, last year, we had increased the performance of our children in WAEC to 41.1% within a few years. And it is now more, or it is more than the average of Nigeria that we looked at yesterday. But we have had to work together as a team to make sure. We have had to focus on our schools by saying we cannot continue to centralize these funds. It is the teachers and the head teachers that know what is going on in the schools. We have to devolve these funds to the schools. Let the schools decide by themselves what they want to use that money for to improve teaching and learning in their schools. And we now put different monitoring mechanisms, different indicators into the schools. And we also know that the teachers cannot give what they don't have. And for the past 4 years, we have continuously trained our teachers. And what have we got in terms of training our teachers? They have improved their skill, no doubt. But the greatest thing that we cannot even quantify with money is the level of confidence that they have. The level of motivation inside those schools and the willingness to want to cooperate with everybody to make sure that learning is taking place in our schools.
Thank you, Ronke.
We have not got there, I mean, we've still got a long way to go. We know that. We know that some of our schools are, in dire straits and people, but we know that we're on the right track.
Thank you very much.
I think that's one thing that we have achieved.
Thank you. I'm going to come back to you on, because I have a few examples. I've actually been to some of those Lagos schools. Mr. Rashid, you're in charge of nomadic education. And the question that keeps resonating from every single speaker is, what is the purpose of education? My question to you would be, what is the purpose of nomadic education? And how does it fit into the entire framework for Nigerian education? Sorry, I think some phones are still on. And it's really not fair to the panelists if your phones are still on. Even when it's on silent, it's going to keep interfering with the communications. So please switch off your phones if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you. The word nomadic education, as you can find it, is within the framework of basic education. And when we use the word nomadic, we mean education for the children of the pastoralists, education for the children of the migrant fisher folks, and education of the children of the migrant farmers. And when you talk of what purpose does education stand for, we have heard it, as said by my economists, that education for to live, to learn, and to do. Let me continue. Something's wrong somewhere. As a result of this, and yesterday when the Honorable Minister presented his speech, he mentioned 3 agencies that the federal government of Nigeria established for the purpose of actualizing the goals of MDG as well as education for all. And these are UBEC, that is Universal Basic Education Commission, the National Mass Literacy Commission, and the Nomadic Education Commission. These 3 solid commissions focus on basic education. As a result, the goal of self-actualization, self-realization, and self-understanding the people around you for the purpose of living together peacefully is part of the goals that I believe that nomadic education intends to achieve. But let me ask a question. Does Nigerian system allow even for equitable performance of this, for this commission? Equitable in the sense that the UBEC is a commission of federal government, nomadic is a commission of federal government, mass literacy is a commission of federal government, and these three are intervention agencies. But again, do we have equitable allocation of resources? To this commission, the guest speaker emphasized the importance of adult and non-formal education. You have your drivers recording accidents, you have crisis in the Northeast, you have crisis among the farmers and the Fulanis. These are part of outcome of illiteracy. And anybody want to say now, they will tell you illiteracy is a disease. How do we then conquer illiteracy? We can only conquer illiteracy if the federal government of Nigeria allocate, if a basic education commission is being funded from consolidated fund for the purpose of basic education, then the nomadic education commission, the mass literacy commission, they serve such access of funding with a view of bringing these people closer to education and with a view of recording peaceful coexistence across the country.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rashid.